evening. All kinds of things have been happening this month. We've had a solar eclipse and the close approach of Mars. But first of all, some news notes with Chris. Let's begin, shall we, with Pluto. 2 new satellites.
That's right. We've known about Charon, Pluto's main satellite, for years, but these are further out, 2 or 3 times as far from the planet.
And tiny.
Absolutely. We're talking 20 or 40 miles across. Isle of Wight-sized objects. Really very small indeed.
Now, coming back much further in, what about Venus? The first probe for a long time is due to be launched here, the Venus Express.
That's right, and it's a European mission, and it's the first mission of any kind to Venus for over 10 years.
This time purely an atmospheric probe. It won't land there.
No, it will orbit the planet for about 2 Venusian days. That's 2 Earth years, of course, and it's trying to work out why Venus has such a large atmosphere.
There's so much we don't know about Venus even now.
No, it should be rather like the Earth. It's about the same size. It's not that much closer to the Sun, and yet it has huge acidic clouds, high pressure, very high temperatures, a runaway greenhouse effect. And we want to know how it got that way.
I wonder. And now, on to the eclipse of October the 3rd. From here, from Britain, it was only partial. I was at Selsey, of course, and with me was Tim Wright, and we took this picture. And further away, Nixamonic, also a good partial phase. But the partial phase is interesting, but not spectacular. The real activity came from Spain, and that's where Chris was.
Sunrise over Madrid, and the conditions are perfect for the solar eclipse. The planetarium is already filling up with keen astronomers, and those hoping to witness one of nature's most spectacular phenomena. Here in Madrid, we won't be able to observe a total eclipse. The moon's too far away for that on this occasion, but we'll see a ring, an annular eclipse. I've never seen one before, and I can't wait. During a total eclipse, the moon happens to appear exactly the same size as the sun in the sky. So we see the outer atmosphere of the sun, the corona, prominences, and something called Bailey's beads. These occur when the light passes through the valleys on the edge of the moon, and we see the last rays of light shine out through them. The moon's orbit round the Earth is slightly elliptical, so occasionally it appears smaller than the sun, causing an annular eclipse. We won't see the corona today, but we might just see Bailey's beads. Our local guide, Mark Kidger, like me, has not been lucky enough to see an eclipse. We've always been thwarted by the weather. Today, things are definitely looking more hopeful.
People were quite nervous about prospects, but and that's why some people have gone to Africa, North Africa, where actually the weather is worse. It's
Really?
not as good where people have gone in Tunisia, for example, as it is here.
And how do you feel?
I can't believe it. I'm finally going to see an eclipse after 15 years
Well,
trying.
you've got about an hour to wait.
Yeah, exactly. I just can't believe it. It's wonderful.
Away from the noise and the crowds, a little enclave of Brits has been set up. They've flown in with their telescopes and special film designed to take out over 99% of the sun's harmful rays, making the eclipse safe to observe.
I'm taking images with a digital camera at prime focus. It means I've taken the lens off the camera and the telescope has become effectively a telephoto lens.
And the image is visible on the back?
Yes, I can just simply take an image, snap, there.
That's really very clear. The eclipse begins with first contact, as the moon's disk begins to cross the sun. Second contact, as the moon touches the limb of the sun, is crucially our first chance to see Bailey's beads. Then, just over 4 minutes later, will come third contact, and another chance for the beads before annularity is over.
It's looking very good. We've got quite a lot of cameras set up ready to go, and we're just waiting for first contact.
Just for the moon to enter the... I can't see anything yet. How's it?
It's
what about the telescope?
There's nothing yet, but it's supposed to be coming in just on the top of the... Oh, I think it's there. Yes, there it is. Yeah. Definitely. First contact.
Well, the eclipse has started. We're just an hour and 15 minutes from annularity. It's going to be really exciting.
We're actually imaging the sun afocally using a simple digital camera handheld to the eyepiece.
So this is just a camera that you could buy off the shelf?
That's absolutely right, yeah.
They work perfectly.
And obviously you have a filter on the
telescope. With a nice filter. We get the telescope focused on infinity and then pre-focus the camera on infinity and just gently getting it up to the eyepiece, and you can see the image appear on the back there.
Oh wow, that's an incredibly nice image of the eclipse.
And there it is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes the old ways are the best, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, this is such a simple setup here. We've got a hole in a piece of card. and we're able to project an image of the sun onto a sheet of white paper, and it's a really clean image.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see the annular stages like this.
Yes, definitely.
Of course, it's not as rushed as a total eclipse.
No.
We've
no,
got
not at
4
all.
minutes.
Yeah.
So. We even have natural projections. As the light from the sun passes through a tree's branches, you end up with shadows showing the shape of the eclipsed sun. With the annular phase rapidly approaching, Mark and I decide to move up to the planetarium to join the fiesta. Usually at this stage we'd expect a hushed silence, but here it's incredibly noisy, with live, specially composed music blaring out from loudspeakers which seem to be everywhere. Nevertheless, the atmosphere is electric. Well, we're nearly there, just 5 minutes from annularity. The sun is a thin slither. It's obvious with the naked eye. We can feel the light levels have begun to drop, and we're just a few minutes away from the ring of fire, an annular eclipse.
Well, it's a pretty slim crescent now, and you can actually see that the moon is a little bit smaller than the sun, but it's not going to be total.
Yeah, that's right. I hadn't noticed that, but it's obvious that we don't have a total eclipse.
Yeah, it's obvious that the moon is definitely smaller. The crescent is getting smaller and smaller now, quite rapidly.
And we really can't be very far now from an annular eclipse. It feels like twilight to
Yeah,
me.
it's getting darker quite rapidly now. Again, you can see it's darker. The sky is getting darker blue again, and the light level is really dropping quite significantly.
The colours are beginning to change as
Yes,
well.
exactly.
Now, I just looked at it again, and the crescent is coming. It's no longer a crescent. It's extended round, beginning to reach round the sides of the moon. And there's cheering. I can't see it yet, Mark. What can you see?
It's not annular yet. We're still a couple of minutes away, but
People are obviously very excited.
It's definitely no longer partial eclipse.
No, we're very nearly there. I think
We're just about
almost
there.
complete. I can just see there's a tiny region of the moon entering the disk now. It's
And I
very,
can
very
see, I can
close.
see a light around it all the way. Here it goes.
There we go, and
There
there,
it is. There it is.
I saw that. We have an annular eclipse, and that is an incredible sight. The sun is a ring in the sky with the moon sitting squarely above it. It's surprisingly emotional here, despite the background noise, to see that. Mark, how do you feel?
It's fantastic. We actually did see for a few seconds the limb of the sun broke up with the Bailey's beads. It's fantastic.
I'm not sure I saw those with the naked eye. I think you needed the magnification to see that.
Yeah,
But
it's almost dead centre now. It's fantastic.
And so, an annular eclipse above Madrid. The atmosphere is very strange with the crowds and the background noise. The light, it's not dark, but it's twilight, and the colours are wrong. There's a strange feeling in the air when you look around. You know that this isn't an ordinary Monday morning. And looking up at the sky, the sight is incredible. Everything I wanted it to be.
It's almost dead centre now. We're just about the centre of annularity. It's fantastic.
People think of annular eclipses as glorified partials, interesting but not spectacular, but this is incredible.
It's amazing, and it's the moon is very much smaller.
That's right, yes. The eclipse is beginning to end. The moon is beginning to exit the sun's surface. It's not there yet. We only have a few seconds of annularity left. And with the naked eye, it's very difficult now to trace the light.
There
There it is.
Dozens of beads.
I can see them. They're glittering around the edge briefly. And that's it. They're gone.
There are still beads. There are still beads there. It's wonderful. That is fantastic.
And that was the annular eclipse.
There were dozens and dozens of beads. Fantastic.
After that incredible experience, we've come back down to the quieter British quarter of Madrid to find out how our images got on. So how was it for you?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. I think the highlight of the entire event was the third contact. As the rugged limb of the moon broke up the sun's light into lots and lots of little beads. Fantastic.
I'm sure we'll see them. I can't wait to experience it again.
It was absolutely splendid.
It was a strangely emotional event, I thought.
If you look at the sun now, there's a big smile on it, just like mine.
Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a lovely image, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just says it all, a big smile.
That's true.
Brilliant.
My legs are shaking still from, partly from trying to do all the stuff with the camera at the same time and to enjoy it, but also just the experience and the light. The change in light was just fantastic. It was so eerie. It was really amazing.
The breakup of the limb on second contact,
as the moon went
onto the sun, that was incredible. There was a bright patch that appeared on the edge of the moon, and that just elongated through this telescope, and you could see it then join up and disappear. But the other thing which was absolutely amazing, which I wasn't really prepared for, were the shadow effects. I mean, turning around and looking at the ground, which is something you wouldn't normally do during an eclipse, look behind you. But you could see the very, very clear crescents during the crescent phase. And that was incredible.
The crowds are dispersing, the moon is leaving the sun's surface, and I now understand why eclipse chasing is addictive. So, roll on the next one.
Well, it was a great occasion. At an annular, you don't see the corona, but it's still pretty spectacular. I've been there. Down here, in Selsey, we held a Mars party round the dome of my 15-inch telescope in my garden. And there astronomers setting up all kinds of equipment to get the best possible views. Over to Chris.
As usual, we've gathered observers from all over the country. The weather isn't brilliant, but they were here last night and got excellent results with their own equipment and, of course, with Patrick's telescopes. These wonderful images reveal dark markings, the most obvious of which is the V-shaped Syrtis Major. As Mars rotates in just over 24 hours, so the view changes throughout the night, but there are longer-term changes on the planet's surface too. The polar caps grow and shrink with the seasons. It's summer in the south right now, and the shifting sands of Mars cover and recover the dark patches of exposed rock. In recent nights there have been tantalizing hints of a growing dust storm, and in the past such storms have covered the planet, obscuring the whole surface with a thick haze. It's not all about imaging. Richard McKim's sketches completed at the eyepiece convey a tremendous amount of detail, just as observers have been doing for hundreds of years.
This is my first Mars observation book, go back to 1935 when I was 12 years old.
70 years ago.
Yeah, it did. Well, here's a rather nice dust storm, and this one is 1956. Which is not much to be seen there.
Absolutely not. In fact, a few days earlier, you've got some nice drawings showing the Mare Serenum region, and while you were observing, a dust storm had begun on the other side of the planet, and in a few days' time from the United Kingdom, observers were seeing all of the features suddenly covered by dust.
Well, my observations go back to 1935. What's been happening this time, Richard?
Well, Mars has been very interesting this year. We've had observations of the planet since the spring, and at that time, at the beginning of the opposition, the South Polar Cap was still reasonably large. We've seen the gradual shrinkage of the cap, and the Martian features have been very, very clear throughout the whole of the opposition. There's been very little dust activity, and I thought that the opposition was actually going to finish without any significant dust storm activity.
Oh,
but
no
I
way.
was wrong.
No way.
I was wrong, because I've got here a series of images, amateur images. We can see a little storm, and whether it'll become planet encircling or not, I don't know. It's very late in the season for such a storm, but it's really exciting time to be observing.
Time will tell. Well, the great moment has arrived, and all kinds of people are gathered here outside my observatory. I've got my 15-inch telescope, of course, and others have brought their own, so there's quite a party here and quite a carnival atmosphere. And Mars is up there, beautifully placed. Sometimes we can't see it. There's cloud up there at the moment. We just hope it will clear, but we're just going to be patient and wait. But of course, last night it did clear, and some people here got very good results. So can I come first to you, Keith Johnson? What telescope are you using?
I'm using a 140mm Maxut of Cassegrain telescope.
There's a very good result there, as you can see. There is Mars, the triangular Syrtis Major. Above it, the white plain of Hellas, and the red areas. That's a splendid picture.
Right, thank you.
Now for Steve Reed, all the way from North Wales.
That's right.
Delighted to see you, Steve.
Thanks very much.
I gather that picture was taken a few nights ago.
Yeah, it was taken a few nights ago.
What
yeah.
with?
Yeah. It was taken with a Philips 2-cam webcam mounted on an 8-inch reflector.
Very good indeed. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, we've got the South Pole there, the North Pole here. We've got the Selsey Major on the edge here. So I was quite pleased to get some features like that.
It's a very good image indeed.
Yeah, quite pleased with it, yeah.
Damien, I gather you were using my 15-inch.
Yes, we have a colour image, an image through a red filter to reveal the dark surface features of Mars, and here we have an image through a blue filter to reveal the high atmospheric hazes and clouds on Mars.
What do you hope for tonight, assuming the clouds are going to clear?
I'm hoping to get some more blue images because we've seen a very interesting bright cloud on Mars here, which is quite unusual, so we're hoping to get some more images of that.
What about the impending dust storm?
Yes, the impending dust storm, that's just around the other side of Mars at the moment. It's actually spread to cover quite a large area now. This won't be visible until much later in the morning, so if the sky is clear, hopefully we'll get some images of it.
Now for something different, an animation. One of our most regular and welcome guests is Martin Mobley, and he's been very busy with his 10-inch reflector.
Yes, Patrick, over the past couple of months when clouds allowed me, I've been imaging Mars and trying to, amongst other things, make a movie, which you can easily do because Mars rotates pretty slowly if you look at it at the same time each night. And you can effectively take an image every few days and stitch it together into what's called an animated GIF.
It certainly works. What's the Syrtis Major every time it comes round?
Yes, the Syrtis Major always strangely looks to me like a sort of bat clinging to a peach.
Now, sadly, it started to rain, and that, I'm afraid, means an enforced break. But we're not done yet, and I hand over to Chris for the late-night shift.
We were about to give up, but Selsey's climate has worked its magic again, and conditions have improved enough that we've come back to the telescopes.
Oh, 3 out of 5.
You'll need it slower. How about that? That'd be really nice and slow for you to move it.
Dave, this is absolutely incredible. What are we looking at?
Well, Richard has got more knowledge of Mars than I have. It's my first year of actually imaging Mars in this kind of detail, so it's all really new to me, except for the major features, of course.
So, Richard, give us a tour.
What we can see within this image is the incredible amount of structure that we can see within the individual markings. Here's the Mediterranean here, lots of detail. Here's Syrtis Major, here's Epigea here, and there's a dark spot within it. This is the Huygens crater. We can also see within the Hellas Basin, it isn't completely featureless. We've got a bright area here. We've also got some dark albedo features in the basin. And we can see some colours. We can see the white South Polar Cap, the summer remnant there. And we can see in the north, we can see a bright bluish North Polar hood covering the North Pole. And we can see a slightly bluish morning cloud on this side of the planet.
It's been a slightly variable night, but we did see Mars through gaps in the clouds. The imagers begin their work here as they process their raw results to produce these amazing final images in colour and showing really remarkable detail.
Well, that was a great night. And don't forget, Mars is still there, still brilliant, so go out and find it. Now, it's newsletter time. If you want it, then you can send your stamped addressed envelope to Newsletter 99, BBC Birmingham, mailbox B1 1RF. Or you can have it by email. It's just skyatnight@bbc.co.uk. When I come back next month, we'll be talking about the sizes of the stars. Until then, good night.